It's time for From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine with Trey, a golf podcast for those who love golf, struggle with golf, and just like to enjoy the outdoors and fellowship with friends, all while chasing a ball around, trying to put it in a 4 1/4 inch diameter hole. From the Shortgrass is presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, and brought to you by Stevens Incorporated, an independent financial services firm with the freedom to focus on what matters most. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels. We partner with you to deliver high-yield results by managing, developing, and investing in top-quality hospitality assets. And now, from the Shortgrass, here's your host, Trey.
Welcome to another edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. I am your host, Trey. Remember, at UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, they are dedicated to keeping you in the game. From sports injuries to joint replacement, they provide world-class care right here in Arkansas. Call 501-686-TOSH to schedule your appointment today and get back to living pain-free. It's that time of the year where you're getting your golf clubs out from winter storage and you're getting ready to get out on the course, and you realize, I need new grips on my clubs. My clubs aren't the same they used to be. Maybe I'm getting a little bit older and it's time to look for some new clubs. What technology is out there that can help me out? I'm going to answer a little bit of that in this episode. I am going to sit down with Aki Yorihiro of Newton Golf Company. Golf is one of the few sports where age doesn't have to hold you back. Golfers hit their stride in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and can play beyond those years. Over the past decade, participation among those 65 and older has jumped by 64%. How do they do it? With the right technology. Your body isn't the same as it was 20 years ago, and your swing speed might have slowed a little bit. You're not able to hit the ball as far as you thought you used to. That doesn't mean your game has to suffer. If you haven't updated your clubs in a while, you're making the game harder than it needs to be. Modern club technology is designed to help with exactly the kind of challenges that come with getting older. So look into it, and maybe you'll find the solution to improving your golf game. I'm back with Aki Yorihiro after the break. Stay with us.
The next time you travel to El Dorado and need overnight accommodations, the Haywood Hotel is where you need to stay. The Haywood El Dorado Tapestry Collection by Hilton is a great place to stay if you're in South Arkansas, listening to live music or playing the challenging Mystic Creek Golf Club. Take time and relax in their bar for a drink before going out on the town for dinner. The Haywood, 210 South Washington, right in the heart of downtown El Dorado. Search the Haywood El Dorado on the web or call 800-293-0718 for reservations. The Haywood, a Beechwood hospitality property.
Strength is measured not by the number of accounts. Strength is placing value on relationships. It's having the vision and the guts to invest in growth. It's the commitment to responsibly manage your money. At Stevens, we believe that our strengths build success, not only for us, but for our clients. Stevens, member NYSE, SIPC.
This is Justin Acree with some exciting news. UAMS Ortho Now is now open at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. If you have an orthopedic injury, sports, work, or anything else, walk in and get the best in orthopedic care. No appointment needed. Ortho Now is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon. Conveniently located at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. For more information, call 501-686-TOSH. That's 501-686-8674.
Welcome back to this edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. I am your host, Trey. Matthew Allen and Blair Allen. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group is now Beechwood Hospitality. The Allens still taking care of things and taking care of you with great offerings on an overnight place to stay. Beechwood Hospitality Group. They know how to manage hotel properties. Find one of their great properties for your next overnight stay. South Arkansas, Northeast Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, Central Arkansas. If you have to go out of state up to Kansas City, they have a Beechwood Hospitality Group property there as well. Matthew Allen and Blair Allen, they know how to manage hotel properties. Aki Yorihiro is the founder of Newton Golf Company and also their chief technology officer. Golf has improved because of technology, and Aki was able to find a way to help you play golf better with better technology. I hope you enjoy my sit-down with him that took place a couple of weeks ago at the James Hardy Invitational down in Boca Raton, Florida. On the tee, Aki Yorihiro.
Welcome to From the Shortgrass, Newton Motion Golf Shafts. Now, everybody that wants to play the game always thinks, I've got to have the best possible equipment out there.
Yes.
Technology is always changing.
Always.
Why Newton Shafts?
Well, we are a very new company. Last year was our first full season, so this is our second season on the Champions Tour. We launched November 23. We are a made-in-USA company. We manufacture everything in Missouri, but we use Japanese carbon fiber technology provided to us by Trey. So I always say, hey, you want to be a great chef, you got to have great ingredients, and so I think we have both. Why? Because golf is a difficult game and you need every advantage you can get, right? So our motto is straighter, longer, less effort. So if you don't like straighter, longer, less effort, then we're not for you.
Exactly. Who would not like straighter, longer, less effort? You know.
And luckily for us, many of the players on this tour have discovered our shaft, and many of them have put it in play. And so it's a tremendously exciting time for us. And I just love coming out here to make sure that what we're engineering, when we put it in the players' hands, works like we envisioned it, or even better than how we envisioned it.
What's been some of the feedback that you have gotten from the players?
Mm-hmm. So a lot of the things that we're trying to accomplish. So definitely these players out here, they will not put it in play if the performance is not better. You got to have performance. And the performance is measured differently, slightly differently for different people, right? Some people are looking for a little more distance. Some people are looking for tighter cone, more accuracy. Some people are looking for predictability. When I hit a cut, I need to hit a cut, so on and so forth. And I think we've been able to accomplish all those things. And I think that's been the big thing out here, which is people touch it, they swing it, their eyes light up, off they go.
When it comes to weight of the club, obviously that makes a big difference in how well a player performs with it.
Yes.
The weight of your shafts have an integral part in the golf swing. How do you manage that weight?
Right. So, absolutely right. I mean, I think the players out here, they're the best players in the world, right? They truly are. It's unbelievable the amount of talent that's out here. And they have a certain feel they like. Their setup throughout the bag is a certain way. So the weight is an important part of it, whether it's the absolute weight or probably more likely the swing weight. So if you took at an S shaft or an X shaft, most manufacturers would offer those in some of the 50s range, 60s range, 70s range, right, in the weight category. So,
and we're talking grams.
We're talking grams. Yeah. And I measure our weight at uncut. So we manufacture at 46.5 inches. So if I said to you, we have a shaft out here at 52 grams, that's 52 grams spread over 46.5 inches. It's pretty light. We are hitting two weight categories out here. So if you're playing an X, many people are either 6X or 7X. And so now we have both of those. And then same thing with, if you're playing an S or S plus, somewhere in the 50s, somewhere in the 60s. So that's what we've come up with. I always tell people there's a right weight for somebody, because I think many people are being fitted today with lighter shafts, and lighter isn't necessarily better for everybody.
Sure.
Right? And so, but lighter is better for a lot of people. And so, for us, last year we started out with one series of shaft called the Motion, and that was probably on the 10 grams heavier of the two that we were talking about. So it would be like a 7X and it would be like a 6S. And this year we came out with the 10 grams lighter version called the Fast Motion. So that would be an equivalent of a 6X and then a 5S. And what we're finding out here very quickly is, yes, there are people who fit very well with the light shaft. And then conversely, there are people who need a little bit of weight.
Right.
And that's all swing characteristics, their misses, their habits, so on and so forth.
How important is it for it, Aki, to get fitted for those that play the game on a recreational basis but want to see improvement in their game?
Right. I think it's critical. I think it's critical because, like we said earlier, this is a very difficult game. I play a lot of golf. It's always difficult. You have to have technology and the equipment working for you. So many people buy off the rack, and they have no idea what shaft's in their setup. And it's really the shaft. That shaft is the engine of the club. All the manufacturers make unbelievable heads these days. They're all great. It doesn't matter the manufacturer. They're all great. But you have to power it with the right shaft that connects you with the club head. And it's about properly loading things. Then you get more energy out of the ball, so you can hit it farther. You want to hit it, you want to hit it on the golf course. Right?
Yeah.
You're going to trim your, if you're a mid-handicapper and you cut down on your out of bounds and your hazard tee drives, you're going to cut 5 shots pretty easily, right? So that alone takes you from shooting 90 to 85. Right?
Pretty quickly.
And then improve your putting a little bit, and now you're shooting the low 80s, right? So I think fitting is absolutely critical. And, before you think, I don't want to make an enemy of the manufacturers, but if you were an average golfer and you don't play 100 rounds a year, right, but you play enough, you play 30 rounds a year, 40 rounds a year, before you think about going and get a new driver, I always encourage people to actually look at a shaft, because changing a shaft on your existing head, so long as it's contemporary technology, right, changing the shaft will dramatically change the performance of the club. And I always encourage that. Now, if you want to go all out and get a new head, get fitted, and then get new shafts, that's obviously the best approach.
How often should a recreational player, let's say a guy that plays 30, 35 rounds a year, look at their equipment and decide, okay, maybe it's time to adjust and see where I am now?
Right. It's a great question. We're all getting older, right? No one's getting younger. That's one of the that's one of the few facts that we all can agree on these days. And so it's definitely, if you feel like you're not getting what you used to get out of your clubs, right? I think that's the point where you should go have a few measurements done. You can go in front of a launch monitor. A lot of people are very fixated on, let's say, swinging a stiff shaft. Guys have egos, and the last thing you want to do is show up in front of your friends and be swinging a regular flex shaft. And so
not when you take their money.
Exactly. So one of the things we did in our shaft is, instead of using letters for the stiffness, we came up with a dot system to try to take the stigma out, right? So instead of an R and an S, we just go by the dot system. We go from 1 to 7 dots. And I always tell people that, look, you have to play the right fat flex for you. And oftentimes I cite to what happens out here with me on the Champions Tour. So we have most of our players on this tour playing, their swing speed are like 102 to 113.
Sure.
Right? So that's just 11-mile difference, which, in standard way of thinking, that's just one flex. That's the difference between an S and an X, right? But I use 4 different flexes out here to fit most of these people that are between, that 11 miles apart, 12 miles apart. And that just depends on how you deliver the club, where you load it, where you unload it. Do you release early? Do you release late? Is it upper body? Is it more lower body? All those things, And so I think that's where the fitting really comes into play. And then definitely, I'm not sure if there's a proper frequency. For me, I think every couple of years, technology makes kind of a big jump.
Right.
So if I were to put a time frame, maybe once every other year, go get it looked at. But if you feel like you're not getting the pop, definitely try to figure out if that's an equipment related.
And if they don't go with Newton shafts, which we hope they will, but at least go with a shaft that fits you.
Yes,
I mean, you might
correct.
not find one that fits you just perfectly to a T, but I'm sure that your local PGA professional can help you out with that,
Absolutely.
and they can find one for you, right?
Absolutely. And it makes the game more fun, and if the game is more fun, you're going to play more golf. And then you're going to, even have more fun playing golf by beating your friends. So, it's really, it's just an eye-opener for a lot of people. Even on the tour, people have found their favorite shaft, and they played it for the last 10-plus years, right? They pull it and put it onto a different head, and this continues, and that's amazing. Right, that's just withstanding the test of time in terms of technology development, and there are big manufacturers, great manufacturers out there, But I also think that the reaction that I see out here when they touch our shaft and they say, "Wow, okay, so this is new. This is a new field. This is kind of a new territory." I get a lot of excitement out of that.
But let's say this too, Aki, if you've got a Titleist driver head and a Callaway driver head, they all fit these shafts.
Yeah, so the way we do our, the way we sell our shafts on the website, it comes with a tip and a grip. So, when you go to the website, you say, I have a Callaway driver head or TaylorMade driver head. They all have different tips these days. So you can do the drag down, pick the tip that you want. And then, we have standard, medium, jumbo grips. You can select that. We will actually be offering some custom shafts pretty soon, maybe in the next month or so. So that's kind of how you would just go about it.
Is that different colors?
The grips.
Well, in the shaft. How do you get the color of the shafts? I mean, I'm looking at one here that's got a little, it looks like it's a little teal with some purple, and then I've got another one over here that's a little more orangey looking.
Exactly, yeah. So our shafts are you can always see it on the range. So our motion shaft uses a special pigment that changes colors from green to purple, and there's a spectrum in the middle. So it color shifts. I always tell people it makes a perfect bank robbery car or getaway car because the witness cannot identify what color the shaft is.
Right.
And it's super neat. So we started out with this green to purple, and it's very, very distinct. When we came out with the fast motion, which is the light version of the shaft, I wanted to create a different color, not just put a designation on the shaft that specifies the weight. I wanted to look different. So we again went back to our chemist, and we came up with this gold to red color shift paint or pigment, and I think they look great. It's very distinct. The pigments are extremely expensive. They're like $4,000 a kilogram. We spend the money and then we price it later. Right?
Yeah.
We're trying to look for performance, and we're trying to look for some amount of differentiation, and then let the product speak for itself.
If someone wants to look into Newton shafts, they can go online?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So we are www.newtongolfco.com. So newtongolfco.com. And you can find a fitting chart there. We offer a 30-day money-back guarantee in case it's not like the right fit for you. We do see some amount of exchanges. They typically swing it and they say, "Oh man, I love the shaft, but it's a little bit too stiff for me. Can I get the one dot less?" That happens a lot, and it's. We all know this, right? Golfers tend to overestimate their capability,
of course,
and their swing speed and how much they're carrying the ball and so forth, right?
Yeah.
And that's perfectly okay. We all go through this, and we just want to make sure that people end up with the right fit. Anybody playing the motion shaft is our ambassador. I want them to play well, because if they play well, their friends are going to say, "What's that? Right? What's that? Why are you hitting it straight or longer, less ever?" And it seems to be what's going on out here on this tour.
Yeah.
Because that's how we've been able to gather a lot of players to play because they play with people who they know. And miraculously, they're hitting it straighter and longer. So it's what's going on. Is it Pilates or is it the new shaft?
It's probably the new shaft. Maybe a little bit of the workout. I mean, look, Tiger Woods made working out fun for golfers.
Yes.
And that's when I believe most of the technology changes came into the game as well.
Yes.
And
yes.
Everybody's got to try to keep up with the Joneses now, it seems like, because of that. Have you seen that as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just look at the tour stats, look at, what's going on at at your home club or whatnot. Everybody's hitting the ball farther. How could that possibly happen, right? When I was 18, I don't recall hitting the ball that far. But now every 18-year-old seems to be able to hit 320 yards. It's a lot of, the physical side of training and whatnot. I think that's become standard. And then also the equipment. I mean, the drivers these days, it's just unbelievable, and the balls and so forth, and obviously the shaft. And again, I think it's great for golf because people are having more fun, right? When you are 50 and you're out driving what you used to be at 40, right? And you see it out here with Harrington and all these guys. I think they're hitting it farther today than they've ever done before, 20, 30 years later. I think that's phenomenal. And I think it brings, more people back into golf and continue to play golf, and it's just a great sport.
Aki, let me ask you this. Fred Perpall, president of the United States Golf Association, along with the RNA, have talked about rolling back the golf ball.
Yes.
How does that affect your equipment? Is your equipment trying to find a way to where we can keep the rollback and still have the numbers that we see today because of the better equipment?
Yeah, so I think you have to, the heads are obviously regulated. So the initial ball speed generated by, if we're talking about drivers,
sure,
that initial velocity is limited, right? And then now you have the ball rollback, and so you have the limits of the ball testing, that's going to come down. And so, yes, if you want to negate those rollbacks and so forth, you have to look at areas that you can still improve your performance. A lot of it is really optimizing. I love the word optimizing because it really is true. Everybody's different. There's a million ways you can play this game. One shaft that works for one person doesn't work for another. That happens a lot. What we're trying to do is try to create a perfect solution for 80% of the golfers, because a lot of times the 20% of the people, they're different, and that's okay. So definitely, I think look for shaft because there's not much left. I think there's definitely technological improvements in grips and gloves and shoes and so forth. But I think shaft is definitely the obvious place to look for optimization.
How often do you get to play?
I've tried to play 3 days a week.
Yeah.
I think, for me, I think it's very important to know this game. I mean, I love the game. Otherwise, I probably would not have pursued this path. But for me, as someone who designed the shaft, manufactured the shaft, it's super important for me to be out here working with the players. I think it's just priceless for this experience of working with a variety of the best golfers in the world and learning from that. I think to your question about the ball rollback, when the ball gets rolled back, the physics of the game will change. And so it is possible that we might have to tweak our shafts a little bit to react to those physics changes. Mm-hmm. Those are the things that I have to be looking for.
Yeah.
And I have to experience. So not only I have to play the game. Once the ball rolls back or we get, conception of what that might be, I have to hit it. I have to have other people hit it. We look at it and say, okay, what do we do? Do we need to do anything different? I think that's going to be a fun exercise.
Ken Duke uses your shafts. How did you two get paired up?
So I started a putter company back in 2018, and it was called Sax Parente Golf Company. And it was an ultra-low balance point putter. to me, there's a patent on it. And it's really, really easy to putt because of the low balance point, you can pendulum it easy. We met Ken in 2019 at a web.com event where he not only made the cut, I believe that week he made 22 birdies that week.
Wow.
And he put in play that week. He met us on Monday or Tuesday, felt the putter. He's a big field player, as you know.
Yep.
So he goes, I kind of like it. So he took our putter, put it in play, made a bunch of birdies, and it's been in his bag ever since. So that's how I met him. And now the putter company is called Gravity. Our Gravity putters, we utilize very light carbon fiber shafts to have the low balance point. It was very difficult to have these things made, so we created our own plant in Missouri. That's where we build our shafts. And we don't sell, nearly enough putters as we want, so we started developing the driver shaft. And so as we were developing it, we had asked Ken to hit a few. And I believe it was around September of 23, 2 months before we officially launched, that I visited him in Florida, and we had 3 shafts for him. And then he ended up putting one in play for the last 4 events of that year.
Wow.
And that was the beginning,
Is it true? I've heard the story about Tiger Woods when he was trying to switch companies, a different manufacturer, because he was always a Nike guy. And they wanted him to try a new club out, and they gave him 4 different clubs, and they told him they're all the same. Every single one of them exactly identical. He started swinging them. He said, D is not. It's a little bit off. And they couldn't figure it out, so they weighed everything again. It was less than an ounce off, and Tiger Woods could tell a difference.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind that he can. I think with the best players in the world, particularly field players, Graham here or there, they can spot it.
Yeah.
CG differences, even the heads, there's a slight manufacturing variance. And so, they can spot that. It's pretty uncanny. Yeah, it's crazy world.
All right, Aki, best golf course you've ever played?
Oh, man, best golf course for me is a course in Japan called Hirono, which is the #1 golf club in Japan. It's in Kobe. It's actually in my hometown. I was born in Kobe. And Hirono is absolutely my favorite golf course because it's like a big U.S. Open golf course meets Buddhism.
Wow.
It's serene. It's beautiful.
If I ever get to Japan, I'll have to try it out.
I will take you there.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Hey, that's I hope my wife is listening. Fantasy foursome, living or deceased, you and 3 others that you would like to play around the golf with. Who would they be?
Oh, dear. Jack, Bobby Jones, and Tiger, I suppose. That would be a great comparison. If we can all get them in the same age.
There you go.
That'd be my fantasy.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Aki, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you so much for having me.
NewtonGolfCo.com.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
At Stevens, our philosophy is to invest every dollar as if it were our own, to seize opportunity, to anticipate rather than react, to deliver constant focus in an ever-changing world, and to pursue the objectives of our clients in order to help them reach their financial goals. A proven history of helping companies and individuals. Stevens, member NYSE SIPC.
This is Justin Acree with some exciting news. UAMS Ortho Now is now open at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. If you have an orthopedic injury, sports, work, or anything else, walk in and get the best in orthopedic care. No appointment needed. Ortho Now is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon. Conveniently located at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. For more information, call 501-686-2888. TOSH. That's 501-686-8674.
That's all the time I have for this edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine. I want to thank Aki Yorihiro for spending time out of his busy schedule and sitting down with me for this episode. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I hope you will get the technology that is available to you to help you with your game. Remember, when you find your ball mark on the green, fix it and a couple of more. And I hope to see you sometime soon from the Shortgrass.
You have been listening to From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine, a weekly podcast dedicated to the game of golf. This has been a presentation of the Buzz Radio Network in association with Majestic Cubby Productions.